moving on, we have coming to us now Cecilia Penn-Dialo. I want to thank Cecilia for joining us, and it not a great segue, but it's a good one anyway, because that's what we're talking about. How do we go from 0 to 100,000, which is the name of a book that you just recently published, and I'm wondering if that's part of your story as well, Cecilia.
Well, yes, we have some similar stories, and I'm just excited to be here with you, Miss Denise. Thank you so much for having me today.
My pleasure.
We have my book that I wrote, A Vendor's Guide to Success: How to Go from Zero to 100K. So it has my story in it, because I went from bankruptcy to 100K. So if
Wow.
I can do it, anyone can do it. And so I'm just happy to be here to discuss the book with you today.
Yeah. So tell us, I mean, so what's a vendor coach?
Sure, sure. So the vendor coach is has two tracks. So I either encourage and mentor small businesses to actually launch, and that's what the book is about. A lot of
Mm.
us have ideas, a lot of us have gifts and talents that we can monetize, and so a lot of people don't actually do it. They just say, "Oh, I'll put it off. I'll put it off. I'll do it. Next year. It'll be on my 2022 vision board." And we never get to it. So it's a big encouragement to actually get small businesses to actually launch and start the business, as well as focusing on event directors, program directors who have events, which have vendors involved, people who are showcasing their products and services, having a win-win situation so that when you have your vendors, they can promote your event. You have a quality event because you have quality vendors, as well as they can be able to promote their services and their products. So I do two tracks. I do mentoring and coaching, which came about as the vendor coach because I'm being from Washington, D.C., Southeast D.C.
All
Represent.
right, in the house.
I'm excited. Um, my grandmother, who I've picked up the legacy, had jewelry and accessories. So I went everywhere with her. We were, down at the convention center all the time, vending, doing different things. And so I learned a lot from her. And so when my business coach and mentor said, Cece, you got to put this in a book and give this to people because a lot of people just don't know what they should be doing. And I said, okay, let's do it. I kind of was like, writing a book, it's a little unnerving.
Right.
But I went on, we pushed through, we got it done. And I'm just excited because I want to share the tidbits, the things. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. You can do it.
Let's go back though, because you talked about your mentor.
Yes.
So, who encouraged you. So discuss that relationship. How did you go out and find a mentor who actually, or find someone who would actually mentor you? Because that's a story I hear a lot about, people looking for someone and they just don't find that right person to help get them from one place to the other. Of course, you are willing to do that as the vendor coach,
Yes.
but how did you find your mentor?
Well, Ms. Denise, I'm gonna tell you, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, and it takes time because you got to make sure you have the right person and the right fit,
Right.
and you kind of got to make sure that you are in alignment with that person. And so it took me a while. I would say it took me over a year because I was searching. I was like, I want to take my business to the next level. How do I do that? Where do I go? And it just happened. God just provided me to be in the right place at the right time. I heard my mentor speak, Rochelle Wilson, and I said, I was like, it was all she wrote ever since then. So I encourage people to not give up. If you're looking for that mentorship, it may not be with me, it may be with someone else, but don't give up. Continue to look for it because mentorship is big. And that is the reason why it pushes you to that next level. People that come to me that do mentoring, the vendor coach with me, I push them because we all need to be stretched and we have the gifts and talents. So why not utilize them and monetize them at the same time?
One of the things that excited me this week at Art All Night, I'm really glad that the city has this event. It's a
Yes.
citywide event. People were out all over the place, but in your home section of DC, where I live as well, to see all of the vendors, I don't know. I mean,
Oh,
COVID gave birth to a lot of small businesses, a lot of artists.
Yes, ma'am.
people who are creating all kinds of things. And so I just was thrilled to see some of the folks out there vending who probably need your advice
Right.
and counsel, but they were doing okay. It's just how do they grow? So maybe you can tell us, I mean, one or two little tidbits about what they can find if they read your book or if they decide to engage you.
So sure. The book is like soups to nut, and I call it's a easy read because first of all, I'm authentic to myself. I'm
How
not going
many
to write a
pages? How many pages?
it's only about 110, 115 pages
Oh
because
yeah,
I'm
that's
authentic.
an overnight. Yes, you could do
Yes,
that.
I'm not gonna write a book, Miss Denise, that I'm not gonna read. Okay. So we wrote a book, but the book is here because it's supposed to sit on your nightstand. You're supposed to go back to it and say, what did Cece say about customer service? What did she say about how my table setup should be? So we go from everything from utilizing free services for marketing to how do you set up your table? How do you engage with your customers? How do you show them that they should come and vend and purchase from you? That's a big thing. And that
Yes.
really customer service is big. I'm big on that, Miss Denise. I'm big on that.
Hey, you gotta be, because that's who pays your that's who pays your light bill, your customers, your gas bill, your car note, your customers. So you got to
Yes,
treat them
ma'am.
right.
Got to treat them right from day one when they step foot in your booth, when they step foot, when they make the phone call, when they send the email, when they send you a message on Facebook. You have to value your customers, and from the beginning, take it seriously. And don't just think, oh, they're kind of just asking me for pricing, because you never know. That could be your biggest order.
Well, I know that probably is the best advice that's in your book. I know that there's probably a whole lot more, but that probably is one of the key things. Now, what besides your book? How are you a vendor now as well?
Yes, ma'am. So I
Okay,
have a successful jewelry and accessories company. I am
okay.
debuting my own handbag line, my own lip gloss line. So God has just been so good. And so I have the vendor coach with the mentoring and the business coaching. And then as well, I vend. I go to various different showcases around the city. And I teach people as well, which is a new way of life, how to do lives. So you may be doing Facebook lives with selling now. You may be doing Instagram. You may be doing some Twitter or things of that nature. So how do you now come across to your audience online? Because you can't do a lot of in person right now. We're opening up, but still a lot of people are still on online based. And so how do you pivot? How do you now turn your business that you used to be in front of someone each and every time, now do it online? So I work with people in that. And then we've just been glad that from that, a lot of the other lines that I've been producing as far as my jewelry and accessories, hint, hint, it will be coming out soon, and it's out now. And I'm just grateful for what God has been doing. I
I
really
love it. I love it. I just really appreciate you being on today because, one of the things that we said we wanted to do as a business, in the information business, is to share more of this information with folks out there in the community.
yes,
And
ma'am.
you're kind of helping to launch that for us. And so you're somebody we want to have on from time to time to talk about
Absolutely.
innovation and pivoting and all of that, because I
Yes,
think
ma'am.
COVID did require businesses, even vendors, to figure out, okay, what do I do? What do I
What do
do?
I do?
Yeah. And did you have a panic moment when COVID started, or
Oh
were you
gosh,
already prepared?
that March, that March, when they shut everything down that Friday, I had so many different shows lined up. I had, some big events with a lot of the sororities, aka deltas and things like that, that were, kind of money makers, Miss Denise. And
Yeah.
so those were closed down. Those were no more. So at a mentoring session with my mentor, I said, well, I'm thinking about doing this online thing. And she said, yeah. We started playing with it. We did our different ideas. And from that, we were able to pivot and move to an online environment. And so we've just been grateful to master that. And so now I'm sharing the lessons that I've learned, the things that I've learned over the past year and a half with pivoting online. And I just had tremendous success during the pandemic. I was just trying to do this as a hobby to kind of gain some extra income. It turned into a thing, Miss Denise, and I just went from the 0 to 100K in a matter of about 7 or 8 months. And I was like, okay, we're all home shopping. Let's figure out how I can work this. And so now, with those blessings, I am now trying to teach people how to do the same thing that I am doing, because we all have gifts and talents. You may make mugs. You make him, personalized stationery. You may have a jewelry making business. You may do clothing. So how can you now showcase it when you're not in front of people, but still monetize that and be able to be successful? So I'm just grateful that we've had this opportunity to actually kind of show the world that it can be done.
At what point, Cecilia, did sometimes we start these businesses and it's like, it's just not going. At what point did you feel like, wait a minute, I've got something here, where you felt, okay, this is something worth really putting my time, all of my time and effort into? I know your mentor probably encouraged you, as we said before, but there had to have been some moment when you said, okay, this is working.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Definitely.
pre-COVID, if it happened pre-COVID, that's what I'm saying.
Well, my grandmother played a big part in the business that I have right now. I got a lot of the determination, the tenacity, and when I tell you, Miss Denise, she left a legacy. So I honor her, and I am grateful that I'm able to carry that on.
What's her name?
Her name is Joan Savoy Penn, a staple in the DC Southeast community, honey.
Okay.
Yes, indeed. So I'm little Cecilia. Some may know my grandmother. I'm Cecilia. The little one was tagging along with her everywhere she went. But during that time period, and I would say it was probably even pre-COVID, I knew what I liked, right? And everybody, when my grandmother passed away, about a couple of years later, I started back up the business. And so when I started back up the business, I kind of knew that was my purpose. Wasn't quite sure how to navigate it, was doing different things that I knew. But I knew that is what I wanted to do. So giving me that kind of like online presence kind of just pushed it even further, not realizing that was going to happen. I was just doing it because, okay, we're sitting at home and I needed kind of, maybe try to move some inventory. But that gave me that push that was like, oh gosh, this really could work. You really have something here. People are really gravitating towards you, Cecilia. People are kind of listening to you, Cecilia. So, you got something. So let's kind of push and run with it. So I'm just grateful for the legacy that she left. I'm grateful for all of the nuggets, which I talk about her heavily in my book, that she left me. And I was just excited about it. And I'm just like ready to kind of go to that next level.
Wonderful. Now, a question I feel like folks might need to know, because you seem like, you've got what I see as a fantastic personality, one that if you weren't interested in, the people go out and say, I'm not buying today, I'm just going to look.
Yes.
You would make somebody buy something. But not everybody has that personality, right? Not everybody.
Yes,
they've got the idea. They've got a great product. They've got a great presentation. But the customer comes up and they sort of let the customer do their thing. They're maybe more introverted. How can a person like that be successful in a business like this?
Now, that is where I would consider partnership involved. So even though we all have our gifts and talents, and not everybody is supposed to be in front of the camera. Okay. And I warn against that too, because we don't want anybody in front of the camera that should not be in front of the camera. Okay.
Gotcha.
So that is where you may want to have some partnerships, some thought partnerships, somebody that may have the personality that can be the face, but everything else can come from you. May be in the dark room creating. That may be your space. You may have the business acumen. That may be your space. So find someone, if you need a face, that you can partner with, that you trust, that can move that business forward. Because unfortunately, you do have to, if you can't be the face, someone does have to be the face of the business and put it out there and promote it and different things like that. But that doesn't mean you have to, because You may have your gifts and talents elsewhere, but that is where I would encourage some type of partnership to be involved, so that there can be a win-win for both of those people.
Well, last question for
Yes,
you
ma'am.
is, do you have to have 100,000 K or 100K to purchase your book, or or to have you as a vendor coach?
No, you do not. And matter of fact, I'm going to be launching some webinar courses
Oh,
that will be very affordable, that you can take my course. They'll be located on my website, which is www.ceciliapenn.com. So look forward to that coming in the month of November. But the book is $24.99 on Amazon. If you buy it from my website, you will get a signed copy and a bookmark. Just hint, hint. If you buy it from my website, but it's located on Amazon and through my website. And by no means do you have to have 100K to start a business. We talk about that. I took $500 and flipped it. And some people, you may not even have that. So we'll work with that.
mm,
So it can be less than that. Because before I even had the $500, I had $0. Do you understand?
I understand.
So I teach people, we've got to work that thing. We're going to take this 25 and we're going to flip that into 100, and we're going to work that 100 and we're going to flip that into 250. So it's okay. It's all right. You don't have to have this huge, everybody wants an investor or somebody to give them, $5,000, $10,000. You don't have to have that. And that's what I talk about in the book. That's what I coach with all of my mentees, that take what we have, let's work that, and then let's flip it to the next level.
Well, I certainly want to thank you. Got a fan club growing out here. I don't know if you
Oh,
know
thank
these
you.
folks: Jacqueline Pryor, Carol Dennis Betts, Diana Johnson, Rochelle Wilson, Joy Proctor. I mean, folks are just. I mean,
Thank you. Thank
it's
you
been
so much,
exciting to me
guys.
to see
Thank
so
you.
many, yeah, folks responding to what you're saying. So clearly, people need the message or want the message that you're communicating, and need that encouragement. And if you're one of those who actually took the coaching sessions, or have a small business and you've been encouraged by the vendor coach, reach out to us, because we'd like to see how that worked for you, and maybe we can get
Amen.
you back
Yes.
on and have one of your vendors to come on to talk about their success. I mean, each one bring one, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
All right.
ma'am. That's the only way we're going to grow. That's the only way we're going to grow.
Right. Thank you so much for being with us today,
Thank you,
and
Miss
for all of
Denise.
your encouraging words. And I need to find out, how can I find out about that new handbag line?
Oh, sure. This is called the Cecilia J Collection. And we'll be actually doing some pre-orders this coming weekend. The bag is coming, hopefully in about 3 weeks. I'm just kind of waiting for that shipping, that tracking number to update. So we all be in prayer for that. But yes, it's called the Cecilia J Collection. You will find out more on my website, ceciliapenn.com. And you could just go on Instagram or Facebook. It's the Cecilia J Collection.
Well, we're going to make sure that folks spend their money in the right places for the holidays. So we're going to
Thank
have you back
you.
on
Thank
for
you.
before the holidays, so that they
Yes,
know
ma'am.
where to buy those gifts. So again, thank you so much for being with us today, and
Thank you very
congratulations and
much.
good luck. And I'm going to get
Thank
a copy
you.
of that book.
Thank you, Miss Denise. Thank you so much.
All righty. Have a good one.